Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in about a minute or two. We're still waiting for a few members to join in, and we'll be with you very shortly.
Had a treat for you. Hello.
Hey, Miss Russo, we can hear your microphone, just FYI.
That's okay. I was just talking to my dog.
Okay.
Hey, Miss Russo.
Hey, Grace. I see. Hey, Royal, Kaylee, Dina, how are you guys?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm good, Russo. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you guys. Happy to be back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon, Mr. Aquiles.
Hello.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start recording this meeting just so everyone is aware. All right, this meeting is now being recorded. Master Sergeant, if you want to go ahead.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Present.
Ms. Valentine, Mr. Keelis,
Here.
Son David's present, Mr. Koss, Ms. Russo,
Present.
Mr. De Jesus, Ms. Hernandez,
Present.
Ms. Lopez,
Present. And
Ms.
Mr. Aquiles is gone.
Okay, Mr. Rodriguez, Ms. Rodriguez. She said she was having some issues with her.
Present. Sorry.
Okay, I see you on here twice, ma'am. Ms. Reyes, Mr. Roscoe, Mr. Cologne, Ms. Sanders,
Present.
and I got you, Ms. Sanders, and Mr. Silva. Eight present. We have a quorum. We need Mr. Keelis to come back to have the quorum, though. And now we have a quorum.
Hello. Got disconnected.
So we have eight.
Hello?
We hear you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Do you have your agenda up, Mr. Keelis?
That's why I got disconnected. I was looking for the agenda, trying to hook it up to the computer.
I give her about a moment to look at the agenda, but the first item is to make a motion to approve the LSC, January LSC meeting agenda. We are missing Mr. Keelis again.
Hello, I'm sorry. I got cut off again.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the January LSC agenda.
I can second it.
Open for discussion. All in favor, do a roll call. Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis,
Aye.
Son Davis, yes. Mr. Costa is not here. Ms. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. De Jesus is not here. Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes is not here. Mr. Roscoe is not here. Ms. Colon is not here. Ms. Sanders?
Yes.
8 yes, no no's. Motion passed 5:12 p.m. Let me know if you're ready, Mr. Keeler, to take over. Are we up to public participation?
Okay, I'm trying to find out the agenda so I could follow it. What's the next in the agenda? I'm sorry.
Public participation, sir.
Okay, well, it's open for public participation.
I had one person email me. I don't know if we have anybody else. The Dr. Velches sent me an email for public participation. I want to say, yes, she's online right now.
Okay, she has the floor.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Vilches. Some of you may remember me. I was the assistant principal at Steinmetz 2 years ago, and now I'm the assistant principal at Disney. I have nothing but love and respect for this community, the school, the staff, this LSC, for all of the opportunities it gave me to grow as a leader. It's because of that appreciation and that respect that I'm here, because it was brought to my attention by multiple staff members that there is a poll being taken at school using my name and misrepresenting the LSC's intentions with the principal contract process. And I know this LSC is very transparent. So because I appreciate you and I've worked really hard for this district, that I think it's important to bring this to your attention. Again, it was brought to my attention by several staff members, so I thought it would be worthwhile to bring it to your attention, because I had nothing to do with it, and my name is being used to circumvent or deflect the process that is very transparent. So I thought it was important to bring this to your attention. If you have any questions, I would defer to the staff reps. They might have additional information. But again, I had nothing to do with that poll that's being taken at school. So I just want to make that very clear to this LSC. And I have a lot of respect and love because of everything that you guys did for me. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Vilches. Vilches. I'm sorry. Any other, Mr. Sergeant Davis? Anybody else?
Unless we want to open it up to anyone that's inside the meeting right now, I didn't receive any other emails.
Yeah. I mean, if there's somebody else that would like to speak, this is the time. Okay, if there's nobody, then let's move on.
Excuse me, I'd like to go. Excuse me, sorry, it's kind of rowdy in the background. But I'd like to state that, like, a lot of my peers and my colleagues, because we are in, like, multiple different groups, such as SVC and local student council, we're having a hard time finding, like, funding for the programs that we need for senior activities. And we would really appreciate it if, like, we could get help from admin and also like LSC to help us find fundraising projects and ideas. And we already do know the do's and don'ts for fundraising. We just need some like additional help and assistance. Thank you.
May I ask who was the person speaking?
Grace Iana.
You student?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Sergeant Davis? I do not have the agenda in front of me, so like I definitely cannot.
The next up is the chair report. The chair did send me a message saying she should be able to log on shortly. So after that, we just move to committee reports. You want me to call them out, I will. So the first up is the student report, unless we have a PAC report. The PAC report, if not, then student report.
Any reports on the PAC?
No, I could just give you an update. We tried having a meeting before we left for break. Unfortunately, we did not have a quorum. So we were supposed to have a meeting yesterday, but that had to be canceled due to, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday, because I'm not available to be in the building. So I will present later in the principal's report when the next tentative date is for the third attempt.
Okay, thank you. Student report?
Hi guys. I was laying as a part of senior class officers, senior class president. I'm here with the other senior officers. We were just talking about fundraising events, ways we could raise more money to help seniors, and this is like alternatives that we have for like senior events or senior shirts. And we were just having discussions about how we want to possibly get a guest speaker if we're able to go along with our Women Empowerment Month, because we want to find better ways to get our students involved. And we were hoping we could start with the Women Empowerment, especially it'd be such a great way to see how many students are involved with the school and to get more girls empowered and just support all of our students.
Thank you for your report. Any, what's next, Sergeant? I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Athletic director report.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It's good to see so many people out. Dr. Vilches, nice to see you. All the students that are here, thanks for representing. As far as athletics, it is a tough time right now in athletics. We have seen multiple schools, including our own, shut down our programs temporarily because of positive cases of COVID. We are experiencing right now, excuse me, the difficulties with completing our seasons. So for example, girls basketball has to have all of their conference games played by next week, by the 20th. And so many games have been canceled that it is, considering tomorrow is already Friday and there's no school on Monday, it is virtually impossible to get these games in. We also were very concerned, I as athletic director specifically, with the amount of time that students were off the court, that sports administration and CPS said, okay, they're back on Wednesday, they can play that same day, having not had practice. And it felt like it wasn't in the best interest of the students to maintain the schedule rather than allowing an extension, because asking them to come back and play after such a short amount of time was not reasonable. But we're going to get through the end of basketball season and move forward. We're grateful that the LSC has voted on funding at the last meeting that we had to be able to help us prepare for spring season. We do have concerns about that as well, because the weather is not conducive in late February to teams being outside. We're going to have a really hard time figuring out how to have 2 track teams, baseball, softball, soccer, badminton, and boys volleyball, all practicing every day after school. So we're going to have to come up with some very creative ways to do that and to still maintain safety, making sure that all the kids are in clean facilities, wearing masks, and that they're not right on top of each other. So there are many challenges that we are going to be facing with athletics as we move forward. But so many of the kids that are part of teams or have been part of teams in the past will tell you that being on their teams, being with their teammates and amongst their friends is part of what makes high school important to them, or what is important for them. And so we're going to do everything we can to try and keep all of our programs going, to give equity to all of the teams, to really encourage students to come out, even those who have never played a sport before, so that they have something that gives them motivation. Again, just being around other people in these times is it can be challenging, but it's also what our students need. And so that's where we're going forward with athletics. Similarly, since we're probably just roll right into teacher report, we are, all of us teachers are so glad to be back. We're glad to be back with our students. But we do have concerns, and they're concerns that have been brought to, I'm part of the Steinmetz Safety Committee, and I know Mr. Jaramillo will probably address that. And there are quite a few concerns that we have about things like students who will not wear their masks properly, students who will not wear them at all, and how CPS has not provided us any disciplinary measures that we can take. These are things that are important for keeping people safe and healthy. And so those are some concerns as teachers. I hear you, the seniors who are talking about senior events. I know that they're hoping to have outstanding senior events. And if there's any way that I can help, please, by all means, reach out. I'm sure many members of the LSC would be happy to help out as well. We really want to make this a special year for you, considering how much previous years missed out on. We want to make sure that you get everything that we can give you. Similarly, on a note, I got to take students on a field trip just before Christmas break. We went to Chicago Shakespeare Theater to see a Q Brothers Christmas Carol, and some of the students here this evening went with. I hope they had a great time, and it was just wonderful. It was a great experience, not just seeing the show, but for students to see what life is like now. They check your COVID cards, they check your vaccination cards, they check everything. You cannot be in the theater unless you're vaccinated, and this is how the world is right now. And so it's a great experience on so many levels, and I'm grateful that even in an upside down world, we're still at Steinmetz allowed to do great things with our students and let them have great experiences. So that's really all I have to say, and I'm looking forward to what we can do with our students for the rest of the semester and in the upcoming semester.
Any other teachers report? Sergeant Dave?
I have nothing to add. We have 10 members now present. We have Mr. Koss and Ms. Valentine has signed on.
Okay. So we recognize 2 more members that are in. Let's go with the non-teacher report.
He's not here today.
Okay. PPLC report. Any report on the PPLC?
We haven't had a meeting since our last update.
Okay. Any report on the CIWP?
No updates at this time.
Okay. Financial review, monthly budget, and internal accounts report.
I did provide those to the council this afternoon, so everyone should have it. It's also on the it's also on the Google Drive. If I don't know if there's any discussion, but later we can talk about it if you want during the actual motion to approve the internal account.
Okay. Yeah, we can move it on. Community report. There's no report on the community side. Facility and grounds committee report.
That will be covered in the principal's report.
Okay. So To continue, I will like to pass it on to our chairperson, Ms. Valentine. She's on, right?
I am on. Happy New Year's to everyone. Feliz Año Nuevo. My apology for running this meeting. So thank you for having my back, Council. So we are in the item of principal report. So I will turn it to our principal, Mr. Jaramillo, to give us his report.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining this afternoon. We encourage you to join all of our meetings as much as possible. We appreciate the attendance and the involvement. Give me 1 second to bring up the presentation. Please excuse me, my voice is a little rough this afternoon. So I'm gonna try to make the report very to the point and kind of shorten today because I know we have a lot on the agenda that we need to cover. But the first thing I know that's on everybody's mind is the Cps Ctu Agreement. Earlier this afternoon, CPS sent out some highlights of the agreement, and I forwarded to the council members. For those of you that are not parent members and maybe have not received it, these are the main highlights that were discussed in the email today. The main point of the agreement, the biggest one is that CPS will provide KN95 masks to all students and staff who want them. So there's not necessarily going to be a mandate that everyone wears KN95 masks. It's voluntary. As you know, we do have cloth masks. CPS has provided us with the disposable daily use surgical masks and the cloth masks, and now they will be providing us with KN95 masks. There are some studies out there and different information that's being shared stating that the KN95 masks are the most effective to reducing the transmission of COVID from person to person. Even when you're wearing a mask, there's a different timeline as far as how long two people that are masked can be in a room before there's a threat of transmission. And they found that the KN95 is the best mask to reduce transmission. The second major point on the agreement is the daily health screener. So our school has a safety committee, and I'm going to share that in the next slide. The safety committee is that which is established by the CTU CPS agreement. And there are certain members of CTU and different unions being represented on that committee, as well as the school engineer and the lunchroom manager. And that committee, I'm also part of the committee. We're responsible for hearing any concerns that come from the staff and trying to resolve those concerns in as fast as possible within 24 hours. Regarding COVID concerns. So our safety committee, we have a meeting next week. We've been waiting for the specific guidelines. It's going to be up to every school safety committee to decide whether or not to bring back the daily health screener. If you're familiar with the daily health screener, parents have to fill out a screener at home before the students come to the school. We have to do a temperature check. We have to make sure that the student completed the health screener and then allow the student to come into the building. That does create a big backlog at the front doors. And it is a little bit challenging because not everybody fills out the health screeners. And it's also, it's been said, you know, by multiple schools that, and different individuals that the effectiveness of the screener is not necessarily there because people don't always either fill it out or give an accurate response or don't report out that they're actually feeling some of the symptoms. So that's a question that will be proposed to the committee for them to decide if we need to bring back the daily health screener. Remote learning. There are new metrics in place regarding COVID in regards to whether a school is going to go to remote learning or not. Part of that threshold is that 30% of the teachers in the building are on COVID leave. And for at least, I believe it's 2 days, for 2 days consecutively. And if that's the case, then we can then go ahead to remote learning for a period of 5 days. On the other hand, another metric that's being used to decide whether a school can go to remote learning is whether or not there's 40% of the students who are out due to COVID related reasons. Now, one thing to understand is that it's important that everyone self-report when they are sick to the COVID hotline. All these things are decided based upon what information the CPS has, CDC information, and the Department of Public Health, the Chicago Department of Health. So we have to make sure that everybody, if they're out because they're sick or they tested positive for COVID, that they are reporting that information. And that's the data that will be used, presented by CPS to our safety committee. We will make the decision, and then it has to go to the network chiefs and CPS for final approval. So the likelihood of being shut down from remote learning is very, very slim at the school level. COVID-19 testing. We currently have a COVID-19 testing program called COLOR. We've been fortunate that their appearance to our school has been very steady. They show up every Friday. Once in a while, they may change the date, but they let us know ahead of time, and they usually tell us a week in advance when they're going to be there. And all parents can sign up their students, whether they're vaccinated or not, and they can have the free weekly testing. The testing is a PCR test. It's the laboratory test, which is more accurate than the rapid test. And based off of that test, they will send the results via email. They'll send it to CPS automatically, and they will go ahead and share that with the student and the parent. And that helps to make a determination as well whether or not our population is on the high end of being COVID positive or not, or if there's large trends as far as positivity is concerned. We, right before winter break, as you may know, CPS provided all schools, well, not all schools, I take that back, provided certain schools in high rate areas some take-home COVID tests. Those COVID tests were given out through PE classes and JROTC classes, and students could take them home, take the test on a certain day, then put them in the FedEx mailbox and send them out. We know that there were some challenges with that as a district, but we still do have those tests available at the school. And we've been told that although we've passed that December deadline, if any student would like one of those tests, or a family would like that for their student, it can only be for CPS students and staff members. We can provide one of those tests to take home for the student so they can take it on their own if it's before the COVID testing at the school, in between COVID testings, and then they can send it out to receive their results, hopefully within 2 or 3 days. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in my presentation. So the KN95 masks, during the first week back, CPS provided masks for staff only. And they gave us about 400 masks, I believe it was. We've been distributing that to staff. As a result of the CPS and CTU agreement, CPS has agreed to provide masks for students in the coming weeks. We have not received those masks yet, but we're fortunate. 36 Ward Alderman Villegas did donate some masks for our school community, and those were distributed this morning. Once again, the masks, we cannot mandate the students use or staff use the KN95 mask, but they are there if they would like them. As mentioned before, our safety committee has been in place since last school year. The members are myself, Ms. Rivera from the lunchroom, a lunchroom manager, Ms. Russo, Mr. Sloan, Mr. Zikolsky, and Charlie Wren, the school engineer. We do have a COVID-19 safety reporting form for staff. So if staff sees any concerns or they have any concerns they want us to address or discuss, they fill out the form, and then we will set up a meeting to address it. If staff has an engineering or maintenance concern, they can fill out engineering maintenance work order requests. That's how we keep track of those. And if we have tech concerns, staff can share those, use the tech request form to describe those challenges so we can help them out. Right now, health data as a school, this was on a Chalkbeat article that came out a few days ago. They had the rates of how many students are vaccinated and how many are enrolled in COVID testing at the school. Right now, only 5.49% of our students are enrolled in COVID testing. There's some schools that are higher, some are lower. The goal is to test about 10% per the agreement. And so there's going to be a push to reach out to parents to get consent over the phone to ask for permission to test students randomly as we move forward. A lot of the students that are enrolled in testing are athletes, maybe if they're not vaccinated, and some have chosen to test even if they're vaccinated. Nobody's stopped from being tested if they are vaccinated or unvaccinated. They just have to be enrolled in the color system. The percent vaccinated currently is 51.65. We have sent out information to parents asking them to please provide proof of vaccination if they don't mind. We want to enter that information into the system so that we have that information. This is very important because if a student is not showing symptoms but they test positive, they are allowed to come back to the school. If they are, if they're not feeling well, they're recommended to stay home. All these different things are taken into consideration, looking at the time of exposure, whether they're vaccinated or not. All that data is being used to decide whether or not somebody should be told to stay home, or if there are any possibility of shutting down the school. But again, the likelihood of the school being shut down, the threshold is so high, it's not very likely. So I shared this information with staff, and I also sent a letter to parents out this week. So how can we help? On the left is information I shared with the staff, and on the right is the letter I sent to parents. Staff can help. All of us can help by enforcing mask wearing and the health protocols, encourage and communicate vaccinations, encourage and communicate registering for COVID color testing. And actually some really good news that I haven't shared yet to the whole community, which is because we have a school clinic, PCC has reached out and they have offered, they have an opportunity to order COVID rapid tests through the federal government. And so they have asked us if we would like test kits. And I said, absolutely. I would love to get test kits to be able to send home with all of our students for their family members and for community if they would like to come to the building, pick one up. There's opportunities to reorder multiple times. I said, just so that we can get started, let's order 2,500. So as soon as we receive those rapid tests, we are going to distribute them to families. Now, just to clarify, those rapid tests are the ones that students can do at home. They're the ones that you see on TV that are running out all over the place. Hopefully there will be more available, but we have this great opportunity to be able to give them out to students for either their family members or themselves to use. And that is not reported through CPS. Usually if somebody tests positive through a rapid test, they usually recommend that they follow up with a PCR test, which is the lab test that we do through color COVID testing. So I'm really happy about that. One other thing that the clinic cleared up during our monthly meeting is that there's no such thing as a false positive. The likelihood of a false positive, if I remember correctly, is 0.05. So virtually, you hear about false negatives. There's a high rate depending on which test you take on that. But when it comes to a positive, there's really no such thing as a false positive. So if somebody tests positive, they have to treat it as if they are positive. And then we also have the information on there for our PCC clinic. They are opening and have additional dates and times to vaccinate the community and especially our students. And this is the direct phone number for the PCC clinic. So if somebody wants to make an appointment, before there used to be a hotline, but the hotline is being inundated for all of their locations. So they said if it's a Steinmetz family, have them call the direct number for PCC to schedule an appointment for vaccination.
So, Mr. Jaramillo, is it safe to say that we now are going to get the partnership that we've been wishing for since January of 2021 from PCC? Because I know that as a school community and as a council, we have been pushing, right, for them to do more. So does this mean we're moving in that direction?
Yes, we are definitely moving in that direction. We had a meeting right before winter break in which they are now, we're now including members of our behavioral health team into the meetings. We just had our second meeting this past week, and they did apologize. They have been going through a lot of staffing changes. They have also have dealt with a lot of not being able to hire mental health specialists as an organization. And they did apologize for that and said that they are giving priority to our students and their families, and they cannot necessarily get somebody to work with them in person as far as mental health is concerned, but they will schedule an online an appointment. And I did actually, if you remember Ms. Tony Bush, she used to work for PCC. She is now the head person in charge at PCC. And so we're very excited. She did, right before break, she did come out and meet with me personally and committed to making sure that PCC is finding new ways to reestablish our relationship, because she does feel that some of the promises that were made weren't able to be kept because of all the transitions. So she did come out personally, meet with me and discuss some of the commitments that they want to make in regards to finding out what our concerns are, finding out what our needs are, and trying to amp up mental health supports.
Thank you.
Excuse me. The next screen is a copy of the text from a document we also sent to parents through the weekly mail reports that we send via email, with different CPS sites and what days they offer vaccinations, with a link to register for the vaccinations, information about the take-home COVID test, the Steinmetz-based PCC clinic, City of Chicago public health agencies where they can get the vaccine, and a link to local medical providers and pharmacies. Basically, the messaging is if you have your vaccine, bring us a copy so we could get it and put it into the system so we have proof of vaccination. Now, I will share that because of the pandemic and the temporary work stoppage, there are some academic concerns. This particular message here came directly from a student during the work stoppage. And I used this message to show it to our staff to share with them. This is just one of about a few messages that we received and asking about, students are asking and concerned about certain questions. So one of the questions that the students have is, are they going to change the dates of the end of the semester based off of the work stoppage? And right now the position by CPS is no. The end of the semester is going to continue being the same date, and grades are due on January 26th. So there will not be an adjustment to the end of the semester. A concern also by students is, are grades being entered and grade assignments being graded? Unfortunately, staff did not have access to any of their systems during the work stoppage, but teachers have been notified about this and encouraged to make sure to get all these grades in if they didn't use the first 2 days back from break or do it during winter break, to make sure that their grade books are up to date. Students also asked if there is going to be a pass-fail option, as there was, a while back ago. And the answer to that is no. There is not going to be a pass-fail option. So my recommendation to students is that you go ahead and please reach out to your teachers, make sure you're getting in if you're missing assignments, see what other supports there are that teachers can offer you, and consider going to tutoring and making up any assignments that you're missing. I did speak to teachers about makeup assignments and opportunities for students and being flexible because, there were a lot of assignments the students maybe did over winter break, or they had to hold off because students were facing challenges with COVID, as well as staff members. Maybe a student had great intentions to complete assignments during COVID during winter break, and they fell ill and they did not have the opportunity to do those assignments. So I've asked the teachers to make sure to work with students and be flexible, and also consider reviewing and no new assignments. There's only about 2 weeks left, and there's a lot of learning that was missed during that first week back, only having 2 weeks of school. And I'm sure there's a lot of information that was lost from right before school let out. And take this opportunity to review and just focus on the essentials. If there's anything that could wait till second semester, then wait till second semester to introduce new content. Try to focus on reviewing and bringing students up to speed and no new assignments as much as possible in order to be flexible with students. And also I asked students and staff to consider COVID cases and challenges, which I already explained. I have to say that hearing from students, parents who have emailed me about their child having COVID, about a mother emailed me that she has COVID and that her child has to be at home because they've been exposed now, and the concerns about whether or not the semester is coming and whether or not the student can make up the assignments. I've heard staff members who have been in tough situations where they themselves do not have COVID, but their child who's a CPS student has COVID, and they have to stay home to take care of their child. And then they come back to work, and then their other child's classroom is shut down due to remote because of COVID concerns. And so our staff, they're also working through these challenges. So I'm asking everybody to please be considerate of all these challenges and try to work as best as you can with each other to try to make it through this difficult time, and hopefully the surge will be over soon. Not knowing what was going to happen with the work stoppage, and also in keeping with our goal of 1-to-1 ratio in technology, we were able to lock in 1,116 Chromebooks for our school. Those were delivered on January 11th. And our tech crew is focusing right now on issuing technology to those students who did not take advantage of the last few opportunities that we had previous this school year and throughout the summer, in order to be issued a device. Some students refuse devices because they have their own, but situations change. And we know that, based off of COVID and everything else, there's a different urgency now to make sure that everybody has access just in case. So we're working on that. The next phase will be replacing any devices that are not working properly and upgrading any devices that are soon leaving their lifespan, and then going from there. But we do have the Chromebooks and they are delivered. They did not cost us anything as a school. CPS is providing the Chromebooks. We're very fortunate because there's a lot of schools scrambling to try to get this technology, and we're fortunate that we have this already in our building. Building updates. All of our hand sanitizer machines were inspected, repaired, replaced, refilled as needed. We did receive a shipment of replacement machines for any that were broken. Today, our engineers informed me that they checked all the ones in the common areas and all the ones in the classrooms, and they replaced any that were cracked or not functioning correctly. So we're fortunate in that I thank the council previously this year and last year for giving the approval to allowing us to buy hand sanitizer and wipes and not depending on deliveries that come when they come. And we've always been ahead of the game and being able to provide this to our staff members and our students, whether it's Kleenex, hand sanitizer, wipes, so on and so forth. Fortunately, we do have a lot of stock now from CPS as far as gowns are concerned, cloth masks, disposable masks. What we're really waiting for right now are the KN95 masks that are still supposedly going to be delivered within the next week or two. We're still short 3 custodians. Their overtime hours are being assigned. I know CPS has put out multiple advertisements to try to hire more custodians citywide. This is a citywide shortage. We are fortunate as some schools don't even have custodians or almost down to 1 or 2, but we're still short 3 custodians, and at least that's being compensated with overtime hours. But it's definitely a difficult situation that places a lot of pressure on the other custodians as well. We had our first snowfall, and the contractors came out, they plowed and salted in time for reopening. The additional needs were taken care of by our school custodians and engineers. On that, I believe it was a Monday after the snowfall, we came in and everything was taken care of. I was a little concerned about that, but they did a good job in making sure everything was cleaned up. The Parent Advisory Council meeting, we're going to attempt to have our attempt number 3 for the organizational meeting on Wednesday the 19th from 5 to 5:30 in the JROTC room. Links and information will be emailed to all parents accompanied by a robocall. Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't meet the commitment. I believe it was yesterday for a meeting. So we will reschedule and try to have our organizational meeting so we can move forward. And as far as the principal's report, I wanted to keep it short because, again, I know we have a lot that we need to accomplish tonight. But our next LSC meeting is Thursday, February 10th at 5 o'clock. And that's pretty much it. I just hope that everyone remain safe and hopefully we are over this hump very soon, and we can go forward from there. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, hi, this is Sandra. I just wanted to confirm. You mentioned that if the students that are vaccinated test positive, they can return to school. Is that a misstatement or is that accurate?
If they do not have symptoms, my understanding is that they can report back to the school if they're not showing any symptoms.
Okay, I think you mentioned that if they test positive, they can return to school if they're vaccinated.
That's correct. If they test positive and do not show any symptoms.
That's alarming. If they test positive because they are vaccinated and don't have symptoms, they can go to school.
That is alarming because they still can pass it on.
I understand that the same goes with staff members as well.
So Mr. Hanami, I guess for us, right, as it is alarming for me too, who then made that determination? Is it that CPS or they're following the CDC's recommend, like who's making that decision?
There's the directives come through the Illinois State Board of Education, which then comes down to the CDC, to the Chicago Department of Health, down to the CPS, and those regulations are made and approved by CPS. As far as the contact tracing and everything else, there's a team, a contact tracing team, and they're the ones that use the guidance to make a decision based off of whether or not students and staff members are vaccinated and whether they're showing symptoms or not, and whether there's an exposure and how long that exposure has been, and then they make a decision. And they send that letter to the school stating whether or not this person needs to, whether the case is actionable or not actionable. And then they are then instructed whether or not they can report back or they should stay home quarantining for a certain amount of days.
And there comes the other issue about home testing. If we are providing home testing and that particular student or family decide not to report that they were positive and still coming to school, where's the accountability there? Because I see it's not that it's not going to get better. It's going to continue to get worse because we're not necessarily reporting what's going on.
That's why we're encouraging the color testing at school, because that information goes directly to CPS and determinations are made because they receive the information. You're absolutely right. That is a concern. There's a possibility that, let's say, students or even parents or the workforce, I mean, that's in anywhere, if a person doesn't report it, then we'll never know. And, we have families making tough decisions, whether it comes to work or come to school, and make a decision that they can't afford to have a day off. They can't afford to be locked out for, a week or 10 days, and they may not report it. And that's why we're encouraging everyone to sign up with color testing and also being vaccinated. We know that those that are vaccinated have a less likelihood of being hospitalized and having severe symptoms and able to recover if they show any symptoms, or able to recover within 5 days or less. And we know that most of the hospitalizations are due to individuals who are not vaccinated. So it's very important, even with our vaccination rate, 51%, it's very well possible we are in a 60% or 70%, but not everyone has reported that they are vaccinated. So in order to make sure that our students are as safe as possible and that we are approaching this as a community to try to keep everybody safe, it's not about each individual, but it's keeping our community safe. It's about being responsible, having a collective responsibility. And I understand that there are challenges as far as, views about vaccinations and different things. And hopefully, the sentiment has changed with all the education that has been going on and all the media attention. But if for some reason someone is just waiting, there's ways now for people to get vaccinations to come to their home. There's a lot of different sites available. On every other block, there's a site or a doctor or a pharmacy. And we have a collective responsibility that in order to keep everybody safe, to continue with that messaging of getting vaccinated. Yeah, Ms. Russo.
Mr. Jaramillo is aware of this, but we had a meeting this week of the coaches.
Do we have everyone back? It seems like everyone's on. Thank you for those members that have stayed on the line. I make a motion to come back to session to our regular LSC meeting.
Go ahead, Ms.
I second it.
Okay. Open for discussion. Close for discussion. Roll call vote.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis, Mr. Keelis, Son Davis, yes. Mr. Cost,
Yes.
Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Mr. De Jesus is not here. Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I had audio issues. I didn't hear what we are voting. I'm so sorry.
to return to open session.
To return to.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Aye.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Reyes,
So yes, yes.
And Ms. Reyes, we're voting to return to open session.
Yes, I'm here.
That's 10 yes, no no's, motion passed, 7:53 p.m.
So we have gone through the process of closed session. We want to report that we have completed our principal evaluation. The final scores will stay as they have been presented to the principal. So we have completed that process. These LSC will now have to come up with a meeting date between now and February 1st. To present our recommendation on the final principal contract. So council members, we should decide on a date where we could regroup and complete that process. So any recommendations? If you don't have recommendations, I'm going to start throwing dates.
I have a recommendation to meet on the 27th.
I'm curious. Are you saying to meet as to basically have a special meeting to make a decision?
Yeah, we have to schedule a special meeting to make the decision. That's correct.
Okay, I would suggest next week, just because things have been so unstable, and if something happens or whatever, then you may be pushing yourselves to the following week, and you may be running out of time.
Is everyone available the 20th, which is next Thursday? So it'll be a week before.
I can't do next Thursday. I could do next Wednesday.
How does it work for you guys? Some of you guys are in other councils. So does Wednesday sound better?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Thursday's fine. I keep getting confused. Thursday's good.
Okay, so the 20th. We're talking about January 20th.
Yes, yes.
I have an athletic directors meeting from 4 to 5:30, so I just can't do early.
Could we do 6 o'clock? Move
6
that
o'clock,
meeting to
6 o'clock would be fine. Yeah, 6 o'clock would be great.
Other council members, will 6 o'clock for that special meeting be a good decision?
Yes, that works.
Guys, give me fingers. Give me something.
Yes.
Give me something
Yes.
here.
Yes, that works. Yes.
Okay. So then we're saying, I'm sorry?
Anybody who says no. Nope.
Mr. Quiles, your image is disappearing. You're looking like
He's melting. So we are agreeing that we are calling a special meeting for Thursday, January 20th at 6 p.m. And this meeting will focus on the principal contract.
I second that.
Okay, open for discussion. Close for discussion, roll call vote.
Mr. Harmil,
yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis,
Aye.
Son Davis, yes. Mr. Cos,
Yes.
Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Reyes,
Yes.
10 yes, no no's, motion passed, 7:57 p.m.
So Master Sergeant, you will go ahead and post the notification for the special meeting. We also have 2 council members that are not present. We should notify them as well of this special meeting so we could have everyone be present. Could you, Master Sergeant, do that follow-up?
Yes, I don't have Mr. Orozco's phone number. That was never given to me. I don't have any member's phone number, actually. So I can definitely reach out and try to get it from Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, and I may also have some of the contact information needed, so I could forward you any email that I have.
Okay, then.
Okay. So council members, again, thank you so much for this process. I thank you for your leadership. Anyone has any final thoughts before we adjourn this meeting? Steinmetz is resilient. We are all resilient. And I look forward to next week. I look forward to a productive, constructive meeting. And I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
Open for discussion, close for discussion, roll call vote.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis, Son Davis, yes, Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Reyes,
Yes.
10 yes, no, motion passed, 7:59 p.m.
See you guys next week, Thursday. Be blessed, stay safe and healthy, and have a good night, guys. Take care.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.